Morning. We have got some beautiful weather today, and it looks like a little bit of a stretch of good weather here for the next couple of days. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are supposed to be really nice. So we're going to try and get a lot of beans combined. We need 3 days to finish the beans here at Waldron. We still got to go to Berkey yet, but looks like we've got 3 days. So we're going to try really, really hard over the next 3 days to get these beans done. And then we'll see from there. On Friday and Saturday, we did some hauling of some corn. We had corn that we were drying into our overhead bin to be able to haul out, fill some contracts. So we worked on that a little bit. I did a little electrical work out at the grain system, fixed a buzzer that wasn't working, but it was pretty wet and nothing else much going on. So ground conditions are still pretty wet, but it's firmed up a lot. Yesterday was a nice day as well, and so we're going to try and combine beans here a little bit later this morning. We didn't really have any fog or heavy dew this morning, so I don't think it'll be too late before we get started. We do have to get the combine out and get that switched over to beans and get everything ready to go. That won't take too long. In the meantime, I have some results for you I wanted to share. Okay, let's do a little bit of data analysis. So I've got here my plot results for all the agronomic trials that I don't think I've shared with you guys yet, so I'm going to go through that real quick. I've also got on the bottom of this that compaction study. We'll get to that one in just a minute, but let's look at some of these other ones here real quick. So this one here was side dress nitrogen, different rates, 0, 125, and 250. Obviously the 0 was no good at 99 bushel. Then we jumped up to 186 and then 192 basically. So huge gains putting some nitrogen on, adding double, did not return double, which, I mean, you don't expect it to, but that's what we thought we would see there. With fungicide and without fungicide, this is a V5 fungicide application. 192 versus 169, that's over 20 bushel. That's consistent with what we're seeing out in the field other places. Starter, 0, 10, and 20 gallons of my starter blend. 174, 169, which is interesting that the yield went down there, and then 186. But I'm guessing right here, yeah, we see some moisture differences, 21.6, 21.2, 20.4. So it got quite a bit drier as we added the starter, which I have seen in the past as well. And also look at this test weight here, 52.9 versus 54.4, 54.6. So the starter is definitely doing stuff for us. Planting depth, it's been a while since I've looked at these numbers. Not huge differences. Well, those are kind of big differences, but not significantly difference between the 2 and 3 inch planting depth. The deeper planting dropped off a little bit, but the shallow planting was no good there at 154. What else do we got? Population is the next one, and this is kind of backwards from what we thought we would see. 182, 178, 174. That was interesting. That must be just this hybrid has a little bit more ear flex to it, less determinate. This Viantis trial, the results didn't show like we thought it would there either, being a little bit backwards. Whatever. So those were all good data, interesting stuff to have. Now, compaction study. This is the real meat of this and what I really want to talk about. So I put all of my graphic design skills to use here in Paint 3D on the computer and made up this little graphic. And this is supposed to be a tractor pulling a 16-row planter. And the colors on here are representing the amount of compaction, in my opinion, happening from the planter and the planter tractor. And so out here, these sort of light green ones, they have a tire from the planter running on one side of the row. See that? Same thing over here. The orange is in the middle, so it has a tire running on both sides of that row. But it's just a planter tire. There's no tractor. It's not super heavy. In the center here, we have red for what I'm considering the pinch rows, rows 7 and 10. They're the ones that run between the tires on the tractor, and really I should have front duals on here as well, and the planter, and they're getting the most compaction, okay? The yellow gets that same amount of compaction on one side of the row. The greens here have no tire tracks around them at all, okay? So let me put some numbers on there. Let me actually write some numbers on there. All right, so when I harvested that plot, you guys will remember that I took one row off of this side and one row off of this side. So I combined rows 1 and 16 together, 2 and 15, 3 and 14, and so on, because they were the same tire track, basically, from across the entire planter. So what I have done here is written down the yields that I got on all of my different trials. So the outside, rows 1 and 16 went 229, 2 and 15 went 250, which may be a little surprising because of that. This has more pinch row compaction than this one does. But then you'll see here we're at 251, 245, 259. I consider all 4 of those basically the same. I doubt there's a statistical difference. And these outside planter tires are not causing us a significant amount of compaction that's causing any yield drag whatsoever. That's what I'm attributing that to. Now this 229 out here, you may be wondering what's going on there. Why is the outside of the planter pass not as good? I have a theory here. And it has to do with our nitrogen applications, because when we put nitrogen on this, we're putting it between these rows, right, with our anhydrous applicator. And we have a 15 shank or row applicator, not 16 or 17. And so what ends up happening is we put a rate and a half of N in this gap and nothing out here, and then a full rate, okay? And so in reality, this row is getting a 3/4 rate of nitrogen, this row is getting a rate and a quarter. And so it has to do with nitrogen application of our equipment and ability to do it, and that's what's causing some of that difference, I think. It's noticeable. There's not a lot I can do about that, but something to take note of. All right, let's get into the real stuff here, though. So when we start looking at the center of our planter and the pinch rows and stuff, we can see here that the compaction on this row here, where it's compacted on one side of it, but fairly significantly, average yield went down to 217. That, I think, is significant from the 250s over here. And then we go with the one between the tires, and it's all the way down to 188. That is a 60 bushel reduction, basically. And then over here, we jump back up to 250. Now, why the difference between this row and this row? I have a theory. You know that tank that I pull? So back here, sorry, I'm drawing looking at my phone. I pull a big fertilizer tank. The tires are out here. The tires are in this track. And so this is adding compaction to this row and not this one. Basically, this one here should probably be more of an orange color or darker than this one. I didn't think about that when I was drawing this up, but when I started applying the numbers to it, that makes a lot of sense to me. And so the question then is, if we eliminated these tires, let's say we got rid of these together, we put all that out in this track, and so there's not really any compaction in here, how much of a difference would that make in this row's yield and this row's yield? And I essentially tried to illustrate that with this, because if we ran tracks, you wouldn't have tires in here close to the tractor. They would all be in this track. I think these rows would be better. I think these rows would be significantly better, but it's rows 6 and 7, 10 and 11 that are going to get all the compaction issues. The question is how much, and can we quantify it, and can you put a dollar value on that, and what tracks would save us? And I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I think it would be significant. This 188, though, we need to do something about that. All right, so sorry for shaky filming and everything, but there's the results from that. If you have questions specifically on it, let me know. It's good data. However, keep in mind, it's a single replication in a single location in a single year, and it means nothing. If you really want to do this and do it right, you got to replicate that data, do it 3 or 4 different replications in the same area, do it multiple years, make this a actual good study. But I don't have the time and patience for that. I'm not a research guy. I am just a farmer trying to do the best that I can. And so I've got some data. I don't think there's a question as to whether or not tracks would help. There is still a question as to how much they're going to help, but maybe we'll get that answered someday. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Okay, now that I have 10 minutes of boring YouTube footage to start the week out on a good note, I'm gonna get the combine ready and get stuff switched over for beans, and I'll check in with you guys probably about the time we're heading into the field. Well, it's 10:30. I decided to come over and take a look at the beans, see how the ground conditions are, and they're good. I mean, it's not dry, but it's not super soft, so we'll be good there. Now, are the beans dry? Not yet. Mushy. Pods aren't cracking. Beans are probably 18-20%. Yeah. It's a lunchtime start today. Dang it. Oh well. Brock's here greasing the grain cart tracks for me. Adding some grease to our auto luber. It's about 12 o'clock, a little after. It's time to go, so. You ready to go, Brock?
Yeah, we're ready.
And we're off. Starting to combine 12:20 p.m. Let's see how far we can make it today. Brock's gonna run cart for us, so that should help us cover some ground. We've got a lot of beans through this way that we can do today, so we've got plenty of acres to have a big day. Should get well over 100 acres done. Says they're 14.6. I don't know if I believe that, but that's what it says, so we'll go with it. Well, if we're gonna get stuck in this field, this is where it's gonna happen. This first pass along the trees back here. Can't imagine these beans are very good to start with. They're probably wet because they haven't got any sun all day. And the ground is wet because the water comes out of these trees into the field, and yeah, it's not good. There's the water. Oh man. Well, see what happens. You guys want to watch? I'll leave the camera on. The head should float right over it. I don't know if you guys follow them boys out in Minnesota, Larson's and Randy, master pipe layer, but them boys is crazy. Did you see them shelling corn through the standing water? There's no way we would do that around here. We made it. I guess we're gonna be good. Oh, I got combine rider coming. We're gonna fly across this like I'm doing 5 to 5.5 miles an hour. Let me page through here. We're running 15 to 1700 bushel an hour. 1724. Look at that, 1800, 1900. Depends on how good the beans are. These are 75 bushel beans over here. Acres. Do we have an acres per hour thing anywhere? Somewhere probably. I just don't know where exactly. But yeah, we're moving. 14.9 acres an hour. It's got to be more than that. Well, there's the first 31 acres knocked out. That was quick. We have more right there. Technically a different field. There's 95 in that one. Think we can get that done today? I don't know. It's, what time is it? 1:58. Took less than about an hour and a half. A little more. Okay, so we jumped across the property line, more or less, into a different field, and this field is super soft. Okay, hold on. I'm sliding sideways. Get out of the way, Brock. Get out of the way, Brock. Okay, as I was saying, it's a little wet out here. I was sliding sideways right into the grain cart, so we had to bail out real quick there. Anyway, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. We're gonna tear the heck out of this field if we keep staying out here. But I don't have a whole lot of other options on places to go that are gonna be better, so what do? We're spinning. There's soft spots. So the difference between right here and right over there where Brock's at, spring chisel, or well, fall chiseled versus disc. Heavy deep tillage versus just like a vertical tillage, disc pass. Yeah, this field's soft. It's wet. It's not gonna get much better though. All right, this field's not gonna work. We're gonna jump over there and try that one. I think that one was just disked in the fall. It should be a little bit firmer, but there's some muck on it that makes me very nervous right now. So I don't know, we're gonna see. Yeah, tillage practices make a difference. Night and day, different ground conditions over here. That field just right in the middle of the two that we're gonna run today here, it looks like. was ripped with the disc ripper, and it's softer. Is what it is. So anyway, we're gonna run this off. There's like 30 acres here, or 32, something like that. It'll be fine. They're terrible beans. Not so bad right here, 60, but the average is 42. That's not good. This field did not get sprayed with a fungicide. That'd be the biggest difference right there, is that we did not spray it when it probably needed to be sprayed. But I sacrificed spraying some beans in favor of spraying more corn, and it paid off on the corn too. What I should have done was buy more fungicide, but we didn't want to do that at the time, so oh well. So there's a big dip in the center of this field right here. It's a muck pocket. It's probably really wet over there. I doubt we'll get anywhere close to that, but we'll see. You can see we've got some giant ragweeds that are pretty well dead now. Looks like we're gonna spread a little giant ragweed seed out here. Oh well. The soil's already loaded with it anyway, so it isn't going to matter. But we're getting across here. These beans are not as terrible as I thought they were going to be. We're running 50. I'll take 50 for non-sprayed beans. That's not bad. Eat them up. This looks the feeder house. Of course. I saw that coming because they didn't feed in very smooth. Well, it's an easy fix. Slow the combine down. Run it backwards and it spits it all out the front. Hopefully the reel pushes it off. There it goes. And turn it back on. Speed it up. And then slowly bring that pile back in. There are beans in it. I could just go around it, but there are beans in it. No big deal. Keep going. Well, we're just about wrapping this one up. The question is, where do we go from here? Stuff across the road's a no-go. I got another 40 acres just down the end of the road that is going to be the same as across the road because it got chiseled. I don't have any more beans that didn't get ripped, except for down to Berkey where it's a whole lot wetter, and I'm sure they're not going to go either. Except for my plot. I think we could go do my plot. Maybe we should go do that. It's a productivity killer. We're not going to get a bunch of acres done today like I had hoped. But I don't know what else to do. Switch to corn. Alright, well, Dad's here with my header cart, so we'll get her unhooked here and figure out where we're going. Okay, new plan. You guys see that spot right there? We got an oil leak. There's a hose on that head that has rubbed through and is leaking oil. It wasn't terrible, but it was noticeable when I dropped the head. So, we're going to get a hose, or probably take that hose off and splice it. Put a connector in, but it's 4 o'clock. The dealers doesn't have one, or they don't have one, and they're closed. They're going to be closed shortly, and we don't have any dry ground to do beans anyway, except for my plot. So there's a pretty good chance here that we're going to do some corn. I hate doing corn when we can run beans like this. But the bean ground is so wet, what we've got left, this field, that giving it another day to dry out a little bit is probably not a horrible idea. And we can run corn the rest of tonight. It's 4 o'clock, so by 5 we can be running corn and work on corn in the morning, and then switch back to beans tomorrow, noon, 1 o'clock, whenever we can run beans. We can start with my plot there. And maybe this stuff will be firmer and drier by tomorrow. Maybe some. We'll see. I think that's going to be our plan. Well, aren't you guys lucky today? We get a corn and bean harvest day. Those are rare. Relatively. Anyway, I'd rather be combining beans, but since we can't do beans, we'll do corn. And we should... There's like 46 acres in this field between tonight and tomorrow morning, maybe even all tonight. We should get this knocked out pretty easily, I would say. Decent corn so far right here. 180 average yield. We got end rows along the trees to do. That'll bring it down and it'll work up from there. This field did not get tassel fungicide. I'm not sure if I sprayed any V5 fungicide out here or not. I have to double check that. I didn't think so, but then I just said that and I'm like, oh, maybe I did do part of this field. So we'll look at that and see. But given what I've seen so far on corn yields, if the fields that did not get any fungicide on it are in the 170, 180 range, we're doing pretty good. So we'll see. Well, Brock's got to leave in like an hour, so I'm going to get a little bit of seat time in the combine here, and then Dad's going to come over and we'll see which one he picks, the new combine or the grain cart. He doesn't particularly care to run the grain cart. We could just park it at the end of the field if we want, but if he's willing to drive combine for me, I'm going to let him do that, and I'll jump in the cart and we'll just keep things moving here. This corn might be better than I thought it was. That or my combine's not accurate yet. I'll take anything over 200. That'd be outstanding. I don't know. We'll see. We are still dialing in the yield monitor on this combine for the corn. Remember when we were running corn the other day, it was not quite accurate. Although it says it's got 15 samples now, so yeah, it should be fairly accurate at this point. Once you get 10 to 15, it gets dialed in pretty good because it has that active yield calibration where it actually will calibrate itself over the course of a few loads. And the loads being grain tank loads. Cool. Corn is just so much more fun. I mean, yeah, it's more fun. So this combine has a couple of features that, well, the other one had, or at least sort of had. I'm trying to figure them out in this one, and they're a little bit different. One of them is this combine advisor, and I talked about this the other day a little bit, where it actually has some cameras inside the tailings and the clean grain elevators, and it takes a picture of the grain sample, and it's supposed to optimize the machine based on what it sees there. We did buy that package, but they don't have any of the cameras and can't get them right now, so it doesn't actually work. Now I can still hit this little optimize performance button, tell it what issues I see. Like right now, our losses are a little higher than I would like to see, so I'm going to hit separator loss, and we're going to call it moderate. Shoe loss, we're going to call it a minor problem. And then it makes some recommendations on what settings to change. And all I have to do is hit that little apply button there, and it will apply them. Hold on, I'm getting turned. So we'll hit the apply button there and let it do that. But some of the other cool things that it does is it has this active terrain adjustment, and it will actually sense the pitch of the combine as we go up and down the hills, and it will open and close the chafer or slow the fan speed down or speed it up based on how the combine is pitched. Because obviously if you pick the back end of the combine up, more stuff is going to fall through the sieve and the chaffer. If you drop the back end down so the front is higher, more stuff's going to want to go right over the top of it. So it adjusts so that you don't throw extra out or not, and it does that based on the pitch. So you can see that right there as it sort of changes. This field's relatively flat, so it's not doing it a whole lot. If I click on it, it will tell me some sensitivities. Somewhere there's a history. Yeah, it shows what it has done. Active terrain, adjustment, offset. Yeah, because we were on a 3.3 degree incline. Okay, cool. The other one here is this Harvest Smart, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how that works, but it will adjust the speed of the combine in order to keep it performing at optimum performance, I guess. It'll keep it full. It'll maintain a constant speed. It'll manage the grain loss levels, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I just haven't exactly figured out how to make it work yet, so we're getting there. Dad's turn to run the combine. See how he goes. It'll be fine. Look at those tracks flexing. See how that one in the ditch is all turn sideways? Yeah, that's cool. That's the equalizer track system there. The good news is here I get to relax and run the grain cart, and we'll get some cool combine shots and different angles and stuff that I haven't gotten to get for a while here with the new combine, so that's good. Should get my drone. This running grain cart is a good time to fly the drone. Yep, just as cool as this combine as it was with the old combine running grain cart. Pretty dang awesome. It's a little muddy out here too. We're squirreling a little bit, wandering. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Whoa! Let's not get stuck out here. See those ruts? That's not what we want to see. That is not at all what we want to see. I think we made it through the wet spot. This field is well tiled, which is why we are here, but everything is really wet right now. All right, Phil's falling a little behind with the trucking, which is a good thing because that means we got lots of bushels we're taking off here. Dad can make rounds, so I'm going to let him do that and dump into the cart before he gets to the edge of the woods back over there, because then he's got to go do end rows and we'll need the cart. So I'm going to go real quick and run this truck that I just got full back to the farm. If Phil is still there, I'll just swap with him and take the other truck and bring it back here. If he's already left, then he can unload the cart when he gets back here. Quick swap. Still got this one. It was just getting empty when I got back with the loaded one. So we'll take this one back to the field and jump back in the cart. I got ahead of Dad, so let's get a little video footage. Oh, it's so cool. His lights work. The 3/4 full grain tank lights work. Although, what I've noticed, when the 3/4 light goes off in the cab, then the percent grain tank indicator goes back to 50%. So I don't know if it's really 3/4 or not. I'm still getting all that stuff dialed in. I need to get it really, really full and set the full level and see if that adjusts the levels a little bit, because it hasn't really been calibrated or dialed in, I don't think. I wish cell phones did moons justice, but it does not. Anyway, I was doing a little math with the grain cart scales versus what the combine yield monitor says, and it's a little high, so yeah. And by a little, I mean more than 10%. It's still very good corn, but it's not 230 bushel corn. I don't know why. I don't know how to get this dialed in a little bit more. It's supposed to do itself. I think more loads will help, but I don't like it in the meantime that it's not, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it, I don't think. I don't know. You guys see that number right there? That is not good. You do not like seeing big numbers there. That is slip percentage. It tells me how much my tires are spinning and not moving me forward. 20% is bad. 1 or 2 is not so bad. Even 6 isn't so bad. It's wet out here. Well, Dad must be doing okay in the combine. It's about 8:30 and I just got on the radio and told him that if we got a little bit in the back where we're going to need the grain cart and finish that up, that we could park it and I can run the combine, he can go home. And he said, "Do you want to quit?" And I said, "No, I'm just telling you, you can go home if you want to." He said, "I don't want to go home." So I guess we're good. Man, somebody should wash these windows, Brock. Well, we were going to get this field done tonight. We're just about there. This isn't a great map because it doesn't show you where we've been, but you can see there's this little, it's a wet hole here that we've got to farm around. It's right over there in the oblivion. But anyway, we've got everything to the south done, and we've got everything to the west done. We've just got basically these short rows right in here to do. So Dad's kind of, he's over there. No, don't hold it in front of the camera. There you go. You can see his lights there in the shadow of my arm. But anyway, he's opening this up, and the end rows are done on the far side. We just got to get a spot where we can unload on the go here. These are pretty short rows back here, so Dad's just going to dump into the car while I'm sitting here. So I'm going to get out and jump in with him. Dad leaves the radio on too loud. I can't film in the cab with him. Well, we've got about 40,000 pounds of corn on here. This is one of the heavier loads I've done today. Not full by any means, but it's full enough to load a truck, I think. Yeah, I've got 25,000 on a truck. Question is, can I get there without getting stuck? Oh, it's gonna be iffy. We'll make it down the hill. Will we make it up the hill? This doesn't look like it was too bad the last time I was in here. There's certain spots where all of a sudden you just find a soft spot, and I don't know why. We're only 9% slip. That's, oh yeah, it's gonna get a little worse up here though. Where you can see mud in my previous tracks, like that one over there is bad. This one here, just keep moving fast enough, maybe it won't be a problem. We're golden. Look at that. Throwing a little mud with the tractor tires. Done. We are done here. Getting the last truck unloaded. Phil's been drying corn all day. We've got 2 lights on the wet bin there. Well, not too much wet corn around. I shouldn't say we've been drying corn all day because we didn't start shelling corn until what? 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. So, well, it wasn't the day that I anticipated it being, but it turned out to be a pretty successful day. We ended up getting, what did we do? 65, 70 acres worth of beans and 46 of corn. So we did over 100 acres today. That's a good day any day. And to have, 46 acres of corn done, it's good. We got to get time to work on these beans. That's the problem, is the beans are a priority. The weather is good to do beans right now, and we just can't get across the ground. So it is what it is. I figured out that corn, that field, the yield monitor in the combine is running pretty high. And like I said, I don't really know what to do about that just yet. But I looked at the grain cart scales and took the weights from that and calculated it out. That field went 209. 209 is fantastic. I'm shocked that that was that good of corn. So that's a good thing. Yeah. It is 10:45. I'm going home. Tomorrow's plan is to shell some corn in the morning. We've got a little 18-acre field way up north that we're going to go and get. And then we're going to come back and probably do my soybean plot. We're going to do that at some point tomorrow, whether that's right after we do that other field or we go somewhere else in the meantime, I don't know. But that's the plan, get the bean plot out tomorrow so that that's done. And then we're going to try and combine beans the rest of the day. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's, and I hope you come back tomorrow. Why are you so blurry? Oh, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Give me a thumbs up on the video, please. I would appreciate that. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Hope you enjoyed that little compaction plot study and some of that other stuff that we talked about first thing in this video. We'll have some more of that kind of data, probably not tomorrow, but from the bean plot that we're going to harvest tomorrow. So, yeah. See you guys in the morning.